Ask the hard questions, ask the uncomfortable questions up front, and know that that's protecting you. Trust someone enough. Welcome to the Napoleon Institute training. We are blessed to be here today at the Masters. Look at this, like none other. You can see it there on screen. Over 30 years at the Masters, understanding frequency, surrounding ourselves with the right people and the right ideas. Let's get to it. We got 30 minutes every Wednesday for our weekly training. The training is called Rules to Guide You, Not Rule You. Success doesn't come from rigidity, the rigidity of following the rules. Rules are man-made constructs. It comes from knowing which ones to bend. There's a gray area when we have regulations and rules, which ones to break and which ones to build your life around. While standards and principles and frameworks offer us structure, they offer us a guidepost to what we want to do and where we want to be or better. The most effective leaders that I've met treat them as tools, not as chains. Are you shackling yourself with rules, or are you utilizing the rules as tools? If you look at the politics today, people were so concerned about who was going to win. That wasn't my concern at all. My concern was to make sure I voted, because people died for my right in this country to have a voice and to express who I wanted to win. But I used the election as a tool to say, if this person wins, I'm going to align what I'm doing within the mission I have, which is to make a lot of money, to help a lot of people and have a lot of fun. So I'm going to be more interested than interesting. I'm going to follow the rule of voting, but I'm going to bend and break the rule when it comes to who wins, because I'm not going to waste my time, energy, and emotion interfering with non-appreciation of the differences in my life of who's winning, the differences of parties, the differences of politics, whatever it is. All I'm going to do is align my mission with who won, which is to make a lot of money, help a lot of people, and have a lot of fun. In this training, we'll explore how the rules can empower you rather than imprison you, sharpen your judgment, and help you navigate uncertainty with certainty, with clarity, balance, focus, creating harmony for timeless philosophical insights into these modern day performance tools. You'll learn how to anchor your decisions in principles while maintaining the agility to grow and adapt by utilizing the rules as tools. Whether you're making a big life decision, building a team, or just trying to align more deeply with your values, this guide will help you transform. This training will help you transform the rules from the limitations that people see in them to the leverage it should be giving them. The power of rules, standards, and theories. Why does that matter? Why does it matter that we follow the rules, break the rules, or bend the rules? Success isn't born from chaos. It comes from having a set guide of principles. Napoleon Hill puts forth 17 principles of success. The Tao has 81 verses. The Bible has so many different psalms and lessons. But those who thrive don't cling to the actual rule. They work with them as a tool. Using the standards and the framework gives you decisions in harmony, in clarity, balance, and focus, but keeping them flexible fuels your growth. A team leader creates a weekly planning system based on proven productivity frameworks. And when crisis hits, which it will almost every day, I always say, right, come up with a well-developed plan, God will laugh at you. But she pivots quickly, adjusting the workflow without abandoning the core priorities. Her framework supports her, didn't trap her. It supports you, doesn't trap you. It's not rigidity. It's not black or white. It's gray. We follow rules, we bend rules, we break rules according to a timing and risk tolerance in an analysis of expansion, transformation, and alignment. Rigidity is the enemy of growth. Fluidity is the foundation of success. And if you don't believe me, think about the most powerful substance on earth. Anybody know the most powerful substance on earth? Water. Water. It conducts energy better than anything else. It's so powerful and it has so much strength that it can destroy a high rise. Worse than a plane driving into it. It can, but it also is so flexible, it can go around and adapt to any shape, size, or form on Earth. So, So understanding how powerful fluidity is essential to utilizing the rules as tools. What do we want to do? We want to always take self-inventory. We want to audit our own value system. We want to take self-inventory of our skills, our knowledge, and our desires and apply the rules in order to effectuate the mission of where we want to be or better. And then ask yourself, are the current rules that I'm utilizing, are they tools that empower me or limit me? Adopt this tool, not tyrant mindset in order to effectuate what we're trying to do. Use principles as guides to your choices, options, opportunities, not to replace your judgment. You know how many times people replace their judgment with a rule? If you study Napoleon Hill and you look at Outwitting the Devil, for example, he didn't publish it until 2010. His family didn't publish it because he was so afraid of the rules that he would be condemned and his ideas would never get out there. And his popularity, his brand would grow to big enough where he would have a community to actually someday publish his interpretation of rules as tools, not as limitations. So we create our own personal framework with the rules. We don't create a framework of rules. I'm going to repeat that. We create a personal framework with the rules. We don't create a framework of the rules. And so if you can define each day 3 or 4 core rules or standards that serve you, that are tools, not limit you. And there is a timing and risk tolerance analysis. I studied Schopenhauer's 4 principles of reason, because studying reason is really important, because in order for the universe to coincide with what we're doing, we have to understand for the sake of what. I'm always listening for the sake of what, whether I'm speaking, doing, saying, believing, or feeling, or I'm communicating with someone else. I want to know for the sake of what, because that derives the meaning or the intention more than the facts or the perception of me trying to think what you're thinking or you trying to think what I think, which is an impossibility. I hardly know what I'm thinking. How could you know what I'm thinking? But his 4 principles of reason help us to give meaning to the rules as tools, not tyrants. So understanding why things happen sharpens us. It's an exercise. And in Schopenhauer's principles, they offer a simple way to trace cause and effect as one. Remember, there's just one thing in human experience. There's a lapse of time between cause and effect. There's a lapse of time between problems and solutions. That just means that they're one. So all cause and effect is existing in the quantum at one time. As human beings, we require a lapse of time in order to figure it out. Cause and effect, problem and solution. And so if we are aware that it's only time that we're creating through the meaning that we're giving the rule, we can shorten the distance of resistance and the distance of time between the cause and effect that we desire or the problem and the solution that we desire, because we know they're one. And I thought that Schopenhauer's principles help us to shorten the distance of resistance by understanding wisdom and faith. And so before launching any product, service, or solution or your business, use these 4 principles to analyze how we can succeed in the rules and what can cause the interference to our succeeding. What is it that we're interfering with? Because it already exists, right? So problem and solution, time reveals what we're doing to interfere with it. And then eventually you're like, oh, it all worked out. Sometimes it takes lifetimes. Sometimes it takes years, sometimes months, sometimes weeks, sometimes days, hours, or minutes, or hopefully seconds. I love to live my life in a minutes and moments strategy utilizing these 4 principles of reason. And so success isn't just random. It is the pursuit of potential. It's not random. The lapse of time creates random events, circumstances that you perceive into an outcome that's random, but it's not, because it already exists as one. So we use this questioning: what's the cause, what's the effect, what's the reason? And we go ahead and reverse engineer that. When searching doesn't go plan, trace it backwards to figure out where you've been, to understand the lapse of time and the lessons that are learned in the interference that we've created, so that we look for the clues of interference, the patterns of interference, so we make better choices to shorten the distance of resistance. Have a challenge premise to all rules. So we're challenging the rules by asking ourselves, the rule's not the framework, it's not the golden handcuffs, it's not limiting me. I'm actually challenging the rule to see how it aligns with where I want to be or better. In Hardik's story earlier, we had Hardik Jagda here that talked about the success that he has from literally living in a tiny apartment in India to a multi-million-dollar company that does business with Disney, ESPN, etc. And all I kept thinking of is he bent the rules. He bent the rules when it came to formation of his company. He bent the rules when it came to the bank account. He bent the rules when it came to the tax side of it. But he really didn't bend the rules. What did he do? He shortened the distance of resistance the rules created for him. He followed the rules in general, but he didn't follow the rules. He shortened the distance. He said, this is going to take 3 months. I'm going to do it in 3 days. But if he saw the rules as limiting him, he would have never gotten the deal. He didn't even have a bank account on his first $150,000 check he received. This is the secret of the 4 reasons. What's the cause? What's the effect? What's the motive? And practice reverse thinking. Looking at one of my favorite books, The 4 Agreements. If you've read Don Miguel Ruiz's 4 Agreements, there's more than just rules in a pragmatic sense. There's an emotional tool or rule that is in effect. And emotional intelligence starts with the internal agreements that we make. You're not going to find outside of you, but you can't see inside of you. And these 4 agreements act as a spiritual performance that create our habits. And we're the accumulation of our habits. Napoleon Hill very clearly talks about how we have to have a definite purpose in the aggregation, acceleration, and compounding of the habits, and how drifters end up creating drifting habits. People with definite purpose have purposeful habits. Purposeful habits are aligned with where you want to be or better. Drifting habits are those that interfere with it. You could use the words good or bad. Good habits align with where you want to be or better. Bad habits interfere with it. Your good habit may be my bad habit. My bad habit may be your good habit, if it is interfering or in a different direction. So, for example, Chad Sandringham is here at the Mastermind speaking and helping us here today at the Masters, and he talks about running 55 marathons. He runs every day as a movement meditation. It is aligned with Chad and where he wants to be or better. Comparatively, for where I want to be or better, doing all of that is a bad habit. I studied theta meditation. I do my meditation differently. I have a different movement practice than he has. I utilize my time in a different manner. 3.5 miles is a good habit for me. 8 miles to 9 miles is not a good habit for me. Not because it's a good or a bad habit. It's just not aligned with where I want to be or better. But so many of us get caught into these rules, even when it comes to the spirituality or emotional intelligence. Oh, that's bad. Oh, yeah, not running marathons is bad. Running marathons is bad. Huh, interesting. I always like to look at smoking marijuana, because in my lifetime, you could go to jail for life because marijuana was so bad for you. It's a bad thing, marijuana. Now it's a good thing. It's like way better than alcohol, And Has anything changed about marijuana even before they made these rules? No. It's just, is it aligned with where you want to be or better? And then we can bend, adapt, or follow rules that are aligned with where we want to be or better by doing a timing and risk tolerance and saying, you know what? I know the risk of sitting at the back of the bus. I know the risk of sitting at the front of the bus because of arbitrary and capricious rules that man-made ego and construct have had. And I'm willing to change the rules, to break the rules, because my timing and risk tolerance says that's what I'm here to do. And these agreements come within, as Don Ruiz talks about in the 4 agreements. So many times, different individuals in a business avoid assumptions and speak with clarity, drastically reducing the miscommunications by becoming more aligned, resilient, and respectful, appreciating the differences in the positions within an organization, communicating the appreciation of these differences. I call it trust and vet. So many of you that I've coached, I talk about taking accountability for attracting the wrong people, attracting the wrong business deals not working out when you want them to work out, business deals not working out at all. And if you're not accountable by trusting and vetting people and saying, what did I do? What should I have asked them? Who should I have called? Why didn't I say that to them? And take accountability for the progress that you're making by the struggle that you're enduring, by not understanding your relationships, your own personal agreement with the rules, to instead utilize the rules as a tool to trust people and vet them. I would say the majority of companies and the failures within companies fall because of somebody is not trusting and vetting. See, for me, within the context of these lessons, in the rules, is that I pride myself on being able to ask people uncomfortable questions that I know I don't want the answer to, right? When you're raising money, you know you don't want to ask that question because you want to be able to tell people, oh, this person's interested, even though you know they're overselling you, back end selling, lying, manipulating. You're so hopeful, and you want everyone else to carry that hope that you're afraid to ask the question. And then what happens is when the person doesn't do what they say, or you found out that, what they said isn't true and you knew it wasn't true, but you're just too embarrassed to ask or uncomfortable to ask, then you go and blame them. Blame yourself. Blame yourself. Ask the hard questions. Ask the uncomfortable questions up front. And know that that's protecting you. Trust someone enough. I let them know all the time. I trust you so much that I'm taking everything that you said as fact. But to protect both of us and the trust that we have between both of us, to ask a few questions in case somebody has miscommunicated to you and you're relying on unstable data. So if you don't mind, I want to ask exactly how much money do you have in the bank? I had one of my clients tell me he wanted me to invest, and oh yeah, we're closing by the end of the month. How much money have you received into the safe note? Oh, well, we closed the safe note in December. This is an extent. How much money have you received? I trust you. You want my money because I trust you, then I'm going to ask you these questions, because if you're relying on the fact that somebody verbally said they're sending money and you're trying to compel me to put my money in first, that's not aligned with my timing and risk tolerance, because I've been down that road and there's no reason to be the first money in unless someone's going to incentivize you to do so. It doesn't make any sense. I want to be the last dollar in, not the first dollar in. And I'm going to ask you all those questions because you want me in the deal. I trust you. These are all rules that we use to limit ourselves and create victimization, not the credibility of being in alignment with people that you trust. So what do? Self-check every day. Self-check every day. Take inventory of your own personal agreements. If you want to read the 4 agreements, it's a great book that's aligned with Napoleon Hill as well. At the end of each day, ask which agreements, self-agreements, did I break? What can I do better tomorrow? Anchor each agreement with a habit, a reason, a purpose for the sake of what? Be impeccable with your word and with the words of others by trusting and vetting yourself and others. And as Hardik showed you, one of the great lessons that he's learned about this, pause before you're speaking. Who here saw him pause? It took years to be able to answer things quickly like I do. I have several different techniques that allows me to communicate while I'm pausing and thinking about what I'm saying. But they're all just practice things from answering and being interviewed and speaking so much. But you're much better off to pause and to think. Nobody minded the silence. It gave you a second to pause and think about how you would answer it. And then it just gave more relevance to the answer. Don't assume anything. Be uncomfortable in asking clarifying questions to bond you in trust, not to question the trust. Don't take things personally. Don't take things personally. Zoom out and depersonalize your feedback. Don't be afraid to ask for what is the reason that you're saying that? It's okay, you're perceiving something and giving me feedback, but I want to know the reasons you see that. Not just, oh, you know what, you're arrogant, or that sounded like, well, what are the reasons it sounded like that? Let me understand and see if it is aligned with something that would be helpful that I could bend, break, or follow. The last one is a lesson that I believe holds true in all life, is doing your best, learning lessons, and having fun. Define what best looks like today according to the circumstances of the day. You can always have your best in the end, but you have to make it circumstantial. Motive. There's laws of motive behind the rules, right? The rule of making certain people sit at the back of the bus had a motive. The rules that exist in the tax code, the tariffs that they're talking about today, there's a motive behind it. And when we can decipher the motive, we can then construct the tool of the rule, not the tariff of the rule, or the torture of the rule, or the limitation of the rule. Motives are often hidden, but they're the drivers of the actual action. Understanding the motive helps us to protect our time, emotion, value, energy in relationships. Every action has a for the sake of what? It has a why, it has a meaning. And if it's not clear, then prepare with caution, proceed with caution. That's when we ask for clarification. If the motives aren't clear, then ask about the motives. What's the reason you said that? What's your ultimate objective? How can I be of service? Would it help you if, and do you know anyone that can help me? So many times a founder senses something is off in a meeting. So many times we feel in a business situation that something's off. You've got to step back and consider what's the motive. And realizes that the deal may not be what I am perceiving it to be. It walks away, and we can avoid costly misalignment if we are utilizing motive, not just the rule. There's a cynical saying of everyone has an angle. I don't believe everyone has an angle. I think everyone has a divine direction and a definite purpose, and that's super cool. But in business, one of the greatest lessons that I've learned, and I've learned to articulate this better, is that you need to own the hustle. If people have a divine direction and they have their own motives, and we all should have that, but you want to own the hustle around it, because no matter what, the natural flow of energy, if you don't own the hustle, is you're going to be hustled sooner or later. You're going to be hustled with good intention. And so in the most important activities that we have, you want to own the hustle. If sleep is important to you, you want to own the hustle of sleep. You don't want to hustle. If health is important to you, you want to own your health hustle. If you have the biggest opportunity financially for yourself, you better own the hustle. because you're not going to maximize your divine direction unless you own that hustle. And I find so many people have great intentions, great trust, but they don't own the hustle. And then they end up wondering why they get hustled. It's the natural course of what it is. And it falls within the context of the law of motive. I think what Elon Musk did, because he owns the hustle. He takes a company, an AI company that's worth about $1 billion, best with the atmosphere today. Takes an AI company worth $1 billion. He elevates, because he owns the hustle, he elevates the evaluation to $100 billion. He then takes a company that he purchased for way too much money, X, which is now worth about $3 billion. And he takes the $1 billion company that now he says, because he owns the hustle, is worth $100 billion, and he buys the $3 billion company for $33 billion, which is still about a $30 billion loss, which he'll write off against when he purchased X. When the real transaction was, he took $1 billion stock value and he spent about $330 million on to buy a company that's worth $1 billion or $3 billion. It's a hustle. It's a straight out street hustle. But why does it work? Because Elon Musk owns a hustle. Who's going to pay? People who own stock. People who own stock in the AI company and X have just lost more money than they'll ever recoup, and they don't know it yet, but they will when the truth comes out, as it will, which causes fluctuations in the market, fluctuations in that specific marketplace. It's exactly why you look at motive, because anybody that would understand the hustle, understand the motive of Elon Musk would say, I'm not going to invest in X, or I'm not going to invest in this AI company, because I know the motive behind it. And it's not to make the shareholder value go up. It's to save face, ego, branding, and a variety of other things. He has put a death sentence on both of those companies. Mark my word, just a matter of time. I don't know how much time. Remember, no matter what, there's 1,000 steps to get to where you want to be or better. There's 1,000 steps that are going to happen. We just don't know how much time it takes for the 1,000 steps to happen. It's going to happen. So what do? We want to make sure that if the motives aren't clear, that we're trusting and vetting the motives. We run the motive test. Before any major transaction or interaction or decision, ask, what's my motive? What's their motive? Is there a mutually beneficial motive involved? Do I own the hustle? Do they own the hustle? Define our win-win standards for abundance, where we're giving more, being given more, receiving more, and asking for more than more. Make sure all key relationships align with shared value, not just short-term gain. Clarify, then commit, trust, and vet. Don't move forward until your motives are aligned. All within the context of what? Happiness, of making more money, helping more people, and having more fun. Pursuing your potential. That's what the rules are here to help you with, not limit you from. To make more money, help more people, and have more fun. So no matter who's president, no matter what business decisions you make, we want to align with the happiness compass. Align with the principles of rules, knowing that rules are there not to define and limit us, but to allow us to utilize them as tools to make more money, help more people, and have more fun. Rules are very powerful things. They are always going to be here. Look at every religion, philosophy, theory, spirituality. There are all these lessons or / rules or regulations. But rules are powerful, but they were never meant to be rulers. Are the rules in your life ruling you? Or are you utilizing them as a tool to rule your life? The highest performers, the wisest thinkers, and the most fulfilled people all share something in common. And we have them here at the Masters Mastermind today. World thought leaders, billionaires. You're going to be around them for all these days. Ask yourself for this common denominator. They all know when to lean on their principles. Napoleon Hill set them forth 17 principles of success. Lean on those principles and when to let them go. when to bend them, when to break them. Don't seek perfection in a system that's stagnant and rules that are stagnant. Just seek what? Clarity, purpose, harmony, and motive. The guide has shown you, this training should show you whether you're applying Schopenhauer's logical framework, Ruiz's emotional agreements, or Dave Meltzer's compass of happiness. The goal isn't to find one perfect rule. It's to cultivate a mindset that's adaptable, adoptable, thoughtful, and driven with your integrity based off of your essence, your skills, your knowledge, your desires aligned with your motives. For the sake of what am I doing this? For my health, my family, my finance, my faith, my studies of relativity and time, whatever it is that is in your divine direction. When used intentionally, by doing, saying, thinking, feeling, and believing, these rules are tools to liberate you, not to imprison you. They help us focus, align, and move forward with confidence. But when blindly obeyed or applied rigidly, they become these cages, these prisons, blocking your creativity and your co-creation, collaboration, and coordination with the infinite amount of information and energy that's here to protect, promote, love, and perfect you. Blocking these and dueling your own instincts, intuition, intelligence, and inspiration, interfering with your potential. Your job isn't to find the perfect framework. There is no perfection, just progress. It's to find what works for you, what rules are working for you in your season of life, the circumstances of yours, in your current mission. That might mean rewriting the rule book or the rules, breaking inherited rules, or creating entirely new ones. And that's not a failure of discipline. It's the beginning of mastery. So as you move forward and ask better questions, trust and vet, follow the compass of happiness. Remember, rules are meant to serve your growth, not replace your judgment. Let your wisdom and faith guide you, not rule you. This has been the amazing rules to guide you, not rule you training. I want to thank the Napoleon Hill Institute. I'm blessed to be the chairman of the Napoleon Hill Institute. Blessed to be here at the Masters. I want to thank everybody for joining us. Remember, most importantly, be more interested than interesting. Come join us at the Masters. Be kind to your future self and do good deeds. Thank you, everyone.